guys. This is the ASMR Nerd, and today I've got another unboxing video for you. Today I'm going to be unboxing a new mouse, and that's this right here. The Logitech G502 Proteus Core, which is a very silly name. Quite ridiculous, really, but such is the case with a lot of gaming targeted hardware. I've noticed the names tend to be a little over the top. My old mouse was a Mamba from Razer, and its left click has recently started to wear out. And the left click is, of course, a pretty important click. It still clicks and registers, but when I click and hold and try and drag something, for instance, it'll register as multiple clicks. It won't stay held down. So, and that's a shame because I actually like that mouse quite a bit. Very ergonomic, wireless, which was nice. But I've had a couple of Razer products over the years, and something I've noticed is that which that reflects how often the mouse updates its position and reports that back to the software. It's also called a polling rate, and that is actually fairly important because that ensures that you have low input lag. It lists at 1 millisecond. So that makes sure that your movements with the mouse feel translated directly to the movements on screen. I believe my Mambo is also a 1000 Hz polling rate mouse in both wired and wireless mode. And then it has some ridiculous statistics here about the glide characteristics of the mouse. It lists a dynamic coefficient of friction, a mu of 0.10 times 10 to the 3, and a static coefficient of friction of 0.15 times 10 to the 3, which, I mean, it's all just a bunch of numbers, but it refers to how easily the mouse glides on a given surface, I guess. And you typically want a mouse that glides fairly easily, so it feels a bit more responsive, but obviously the texture of your mousing surface is going to have some bearing on how easily the mouse glides across as well. And then it talks a bit about the durability. It says each button is rated for 20 million clicks, which is a lot, I guess, although it probably adds up. And 250 kilometers of gliding, of mousing back and forth, which seems like a weird way to measure it, but again, it's just a statistic they throw at you to impress you, I would say. Okay. And on the back here, it just talks about the 11 programmable buttons, which is good. It has a hardware DPI shift button, which is generally intended for, well, it's intended for switching sensitivity on the fly. And the example that's always given is if you're playing an FPS, you might want one sensitivity for run and gun stuff and another one, a lower sensitivity for sniping or something like that. I rarely use it like that, but it's nice to have the option. A surface tunable gaming sensor with exclusive Delta Zero technology. More of that crazy marketing talk, but apparently, so I've read, the sensor in this mouse will actually customize itself to your mousing surface. So I think you just put the mouse down and let it run through a calibration set, and it'll try and adapt itself to the texture of your mousing surface. So I can't speak to how all that works. I don't know, but or even if it's noticeable or worthwhile. But I'll definitely give it a shot. And it also says here you can put in up to 5 3.6 gram weights to personalize the mass and balance of your gaming mouse. 5-point DPI adjustment, that's not a word. Improved dual mode, hyperfast scroll wheel. I'll show what that means shortly. 3 onboard profiles, so the mouse can save your profiles to the mouse itself, to onboard memory. So you can retain those profiles, presumably moving from computer to computer. Braided cable, low friction feed, etc., etc. And there's the mouse itself. It looks like something out of Christopher Nolan's Batman, maybe. It's this through software imaging calibration. This corny tagline down here, science wins. All the marketing bollocks aside though, it does sound like a pretty neat mouse, which is why I got it. And I picked this up for about $65 Canadian on sale, which is, I don't know, 55 or something like that, $57 US, I guess, which is a fair bit cheaper than the Mamba that I've been using for the last couple of years, but more expensive than a lot of mice on the market too, so I expect it to be good. Alright, let's open this up. Trusty old Swiss Army knife. Maybe I don't need it. here's that braided cable. It feels nice and thick and heavy, which is good. I like braided cables on my hardware. Aesthetically, it's nice, but they just give it an extra feeling of quality, I guess. Probably makes no difference really, but I'm just gonna feed this cable through here. Okay, so I managed to get the mouse out of the little molded plastic cradle there with some difficulty, but at last we can take a look at the actual product. So it's got a letter G for the G series that lights up. I think it's either on or off. Those are your options. It's got this big chunky metal scroll wheel, which can be set to this clicky mode, or if I press this this little button just behind the scroll wheel, that allows this scroll wheel to spin freely, which is not great for gaming, but good if you're navigating a document. You need to scroll a long way quickly. It's a very nice, heavy feeling scroll wheel. Good solid notches, smooth action. It feels very high quality, really, very solid. I like it a lot. Immediately behind the scroll wheel release button, if I can get the camera to focus, please. Sometimes it's so finicky. Okay, anyway, immediately behind there is there we go. This G9 button. I don't know what it does, but I'll find out. It might switch profiles or something. That's my guess. Then of course we have regular left and right click. Naturally, the scroll wheel can be depressed as well. Both the clicks feel very good, very definite, a little bit snappier, I would say, than my old Mamba, which had also very nice click action, but felt a little softer on the clicks, which was not necessarily a bad thing. But this is very tactile and responsive. I like the feel. They're very springy. Moving around to the right-hand side of the mouse, we've got a pair of buttons, angular buttons that sit just to the left of the left click. And below that we've got a space to cradle the thumb so that your thumb isn't dragging on the mousing surface. And above that, textured, sort of a rubber texture. You might be able to tell there. Anytime now, camera. Anyway, that rubber texture, there's a pair of buttons is a hardware display that shows the DPI setting that you've got the mouse turned to at the given time. I suspect these bars light up. And the right hand side is actually pretty boring. It's just a textured rubber grip. No buttons, no LEDs, no nothing. So all the buttons are on the top and the left hand side. On the bottom, we've got the specially developed Logitech custom 12,000 DPI G sensor, which apparently they put quite a bit of work into. So we've got this more textured rubber on the side, plastic on the bottom, and then these very smooth gliding feet. And if you want to know about those, just take a look at the box, because apparently they've quantified the coefficient of friction for those feet, as we saw. The cable. I'm sorry, this is so dark here. It's a black mouse. It's kind of hard to film. The cable is firmly attached to the front of the mouse between the left and the right click, and cannot be removed because this is not a wireless mouse. As I mentioned, my Mamba was a wireless mouse, and I really liked that about it. It had a nice charging cradle, but it could also be wired. You could plug the cable in right in the same place here, actually. And it worked well both ways, although after a time, as one might expect, the battery started to hold less and less charge, so I ended up just using it in wired mode for the last year, probably. But it was really nice to have the option because I do prefer wireless mice. But I heard really good things about this one, and since I've been using a wired mouse anyway, or I've been using the Mamba as a wired mouse anyway, I'm used to using a wire, having a wire. So the last item here is the this bottom section here. It comes off, and now I gotta figure out how it comes off. It's my understanding that it is magnetic, but I'm not sure how one pops it off. No, that's the little foot. There's not a lot of places to get under it. Oh, now my mockery of the little piece of paper is gonna come back, bite me. I was joking about how useless that little insert was, but I think it had a diagram for how to do this. Let me take a look. That doesn't seem very useful at all. It just shows it popping open. Oh, very straightforward. It's magnetic, and it just, this blue part of the thumb cradle is actually the lever to open this thing. And inside you have space to arrange those weights. It's a decently weighty mouse to start with. I would say it feels very much like my Mamba without any weights in it, which I think was on the heavier end of mice, simply because it had a battery in there and all that stuff. But so I don't think I will put any weights in. I think it's just the right weight as it is, but we'll see. Once I try it out, I'll have to do some testing and some gaming. feels just about right, very comfortable, fits nicely in the palm of my hand, but I can still do the kind of claw grip thing that I like. I tend to move my mouse. I sort of pinch it between my thumb and my pinky over here, or my ring finger depending, and I tend to sort of pull it into the pit of my hand and push it out like that without too much wrist action and certainly no forearm action. That tends to be how I mouse, and I think this mouse will do allow for that quite nicely. I know some people tend to move with their whole palm touching the palm rest and sort of move their whole wrist, but I like to keep a bit of space between my palm and the palm rest. And so it's a bit of, I think they call it, whoever they is, in gaming parlance, they call it the claw grip, because you're kind of just contacting the mouse with a few points there. Anyway. And of course the rest of the cable. USB plug, nothing too fancy. And that, my friends, is the Logitech G502 Proteus Core gaming mouse. Looks like a very slick piece of hardware. I am excited to try it out, and if any of you are curious, feel free to leave a comment and I'll let you know what I think of it. And it is the click that you will be hearing from now on in any gameplay videos where I include mouse clicks